So you get into it 2004, right? Really good 3-year string from 2004 to 2007. Can you talk, I mean, as being somebody was super, super involved in real estate, like what was that like for you? And maybe like the feel even in the office of like when the housing crisis started and how'd that kind of affect your life?
Well, I mean, we knew, that the prices were going up, that every new house seemed to be setting a record for that market. You just had neighborhoods where no house had ever sold for more than X, and now all of a sudden every house is there, and they're starting to go to that next barrier. And you're going out and seeing people, and it's just, is this, this young couple, and they have this job, they're buying this house. It is just, you could start to see, whereas, maybe there's some situation for one person, but when everyone you go meet seems to have a job that wouldn't necessarily denote that level of home, you could see something was up. Everything was setting a record, and when you're doing an appraisal, we forecast market conditions, but the information we use is sales. So we're using past information, and that doesn't mean we can never forecast a sales increase, but anytime you're extrapolating outside of your data range, you're on a more uncertain ground than when you're inside your data range.
Yeah.
So, there was a lot of pressure from lenders, a lot of pressure from people to do that, and you could, then you started to see the cracks, and I did a little work for the Attorney General at points in there, and you could see fraud.
Oh, wow.
So, we could see it, but, just didn't know when or how it would happen.
So yeah, I think that was like it seemed like there was a lot more people that knew it was going to crash eventually. I mean, they didn't know like the actual intricacies of like how big it was. Like, I'm sure you've watched that movie, The Big Short.
Yeah.
It's like one of my favorite movies. But so you're saying that you could kind of feel that like, okay, this is not sustainable, like long term.
Yeah. You would just see, you could see that data, that line going up.
Yeah.
And it has to be finite. The growth has to be, right?
Yeah.
So from our point, it got to where each new number, we'd be forecasting that market conditions adjustment to say, all right, this house sold for this in this neighborhood last month. Can this one really be this much more?
Yeah.
And you could start to see where it was getting shakier. I didn't understand the full, bundling and subprime and all of that. Yeah. But, we could see that there were probably some borrowers that had bigger houses than they probably should have. And, you'd see that ever increasing number didn't seem like it could be a permanent change.
Yeah. So 2008 happens, housing crisis, affecting your business. Like, let's say, you're at 100%. What kind of decrease did you see in business after that, or of any?
There was definitely a decrease. I don't know if I could tell you the number, maybe a quarter to a third. So our business, and we've intentionally built it to not be reliant on lending.
Yeah.
So we work with municipalities, work with owners' values for divorces, estates, tax issues. So we've always tried to have a varied, supply of work. And then the 2008 crash sort of happened quick enough that then, we do work on the other side too, in the bank-owned properties where they needed to know what the property was worth now. They had a loan on it, when the borrower got it 2 years ago, and now they're taking it back. Maybe it's damaged. Maybe, something has happened. The market has changed. Where can they unload it at? What's their point?
So